Hey guys, while I still have you, I would like to go on to talk about the rest of this Proverbs. There is between Proverbs 19 and 24, it's a whole nother book. You can just tell by the way it's set up. And this actually creates six different scenes because it's this way 19 through 24 are six different places. So it's very interesting how it all works out. All right. It's still the tit for tat. It's still being put into this idea of the worlds. And, if you have something left over at the end, like three or two, well, that's just giving you more explanation as to what's going on. Because two is really leaving, when you only have two pieces left or two things left, they're still representing whatever that number was that they landed on. And generally, it's like a note for the whole business. Like what I want to do is I would like to read a little bit of the Proverbs 19, right, which represents one. So that's the beginning. That's how we know that it's the beginning of a new story. Plus, we just finished the last group of them. All right. This goes to 24. And really what I want to do is I want to just call out a few things that are important in it. And what I did was I did every fourth world. I wrote down every fourth world, okay, which is really cool. All right, so this this would mean that the outcome from each of the four that had come before it, that was prior to it. So it'd be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and 28. Well, believe it or not, I did this for all of these six chapters, and for the first bunch of them, I did fours, and then I did just the threes, and then I did a couple that are just twos. And so the information that you hear is relative to that number or to that particular part of the world, right? The west or the east, north or the south or the east. But it was just really cool. So the first one, so I got a whole bunch of the end of the worlds, which is the fours. I got the last fours of each one of those, and which should, it should be, what you get out of it, right? Out of the. So to talk about it, let's do it real quick. Wealth makes many friends, but the poor is separate from his neighbor. Remember, poor means you don't have you don't have God in you. This is the idea of being poor. And means you are separated from your neighbor. You're separated from the child, It's just another way of talking about it, that you don't have your neighbor, The next set. He that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul, and he that keepeth understanding shall find good. Well, this is 8. All right, and it's representing the second set, which is going to be representing, God's. It's going to be representing you. So it says, "He that getteth wisdom." And this is something we have to search for and find her. We have to hook up to her because remember, she's not right there. She comes in at the end of times. Okay. Number 3 in here would be the third one, which represents 12. And I don't want to go too crazy with that because I'm so dyslexic. It makes me go crazy. The king's wrath is as a roaring of a lion, but his favor is as dew upon the grass. Now, this is representing 12. 12 represents a 3, and it is the third batch on here. This is how it's working. So you'll know that as we go down the line, it's actually pulling out the definitions of each one of the codes, the numbers that those represent. And so on this third, we get the wrath. This is where we get the third is this idea of getting father and mother together. And this is the wrath. And it says it's like a roaring lion, right? But at the same time, it says it's like dew on the grass, because it's when we go into, it's a meditation. It doesn't hurt. He says, find my way, my yoke, because it's easy. It doesn't hurt, and it's beautiful. We're going in to be corrected, and this correcting is great. We're going in to be judged, and this judgment is important. You know, in fact, in hereby about the Proverbs, yeah, somewhere around in 21, which is going to be a 3. All right, it's this idea. This is this judgment that this is actually being looked at because you're not doing it. This is bad. You should be coming up for judgment. You ain't coming up for judgment, you know. So it's like, you know, did you know that was a sin to not come up for judgment, you know? Well, anyways, that's because everyone is waiting for God to come down and do some judging on them. But it's told us in the stories here that the judgment is left up to the Son. So that means that when we go down in meditation, the outside of us, the Father, has to go to sleep while his Son goes up and tells on. You know, he's the guy who's doing the judging. Who would know it better than your soul? All right? It's beautiful. So in the fourth world here, we get, he that keepeth the commandments keepeth his own soul. But he that despises his ways shall die. So we do know that if you don't follow mom and dad brings you alive. But when you're just following father, the dead, that's the dying side. Here we have 5 talking about our body representing 20. All right. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou may be wise in thy latter end. All right. So does that sound like in the end of days, in the latter ends? So hear counsel, hear this, and receive instruction. Hear this, because this is coming to us. We come to 6. 6 is supposed to be the works. It's number 24. A slothful man hideth his hand in his own somewhere, and will not so much as bring it to his mouth again, in his own bosom. He's going to hide it in his own bosom. So he's never going to try this out. This is what a slothful. Remember, sloth is one of the bad things. And a slothful person he's just not going to lift his hand to get himself out of any kind of mess. This is slothful. And so that's 6. So and why does it show up on there? Because these stories are actually, they're favoring both sides, because, you know, the way it really works is that, you know, they're not really favoring the wicked, but the idea is that it's in there. It's the only other choice you have besides righteous. And we have to go through both of them. You know, we have to be this wicked person for God knows how long. You know, and then we only go through the being alive and awake once, you know, but we're dead for a good long time. So anyways, it's not really favoring it, but it's showing that 6 chakra, the number 6 here, 6 is about the end of many people's, where as far as we can go that's it, because there's no God in our lives. And here, number 28 is our 7th and final world. And remember, we've been reading off of Proverbs 19. The ungodly witness scorneth. Oh, they scorneth judgment. Here it is. It's already in the first one. The ungodly witness scorneth judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devoureth iniquity. So what we're getting from Proverbs is we get this beautiful set of things starting off at the first, and then at the end, this is what we're getting. But we were given some really good advice. But then also it says, but this is if you go the opposite way. All right. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to push this down because I don't want to read all of these things. Okay. I might have made notes here and there. They're calling people that follow the folly or doing the folly the simple minded. Remember in the stories is, hey, how long do you want to be simple? Why do you want to be simple? Hey, why don't you come up here and to get some understanding? And remember, understanding is knowing what we're doing right now is we're going through the Bible and we're learning how to read it in the correct way, that we're using our knowledge of the way and what we got from God to teach us how to see the spiritual side of this Bible. So what we have learned here is, let's go to, I'm going to take it down and we're going to go to chapter 24. All right. Give me a second. Boink. And I'm going to read the whole thing because I think it's worth it, because this is the beginning and then we do the end. And, you can just go through the middle all you want. Okay. Number 24. 4, 5, 6 is going to represent a 6. All right. 6 represents the works. Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. For their heart studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. The wisdom is an house builded. Oh, wait a minute there. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with precious and pleasant riches. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth in strength. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and multitudes of counselors there is safety. And in multitude of counselors there is safety. Wisdom is too high for a fool. He opened not his mouth at the gate. We're going to stop here at 7 real fast. Through wisdom is an house builded. This is the idea of when we talk about building your house on stone, because when we open this door, this gate into this city, does that create a beautiful place for us to build our house on. And the house is talking about our mind, our body, where God comes to dwell. It's really beautiful. All right. And you look at this here, that the multitude of counselors, and that we have wise counsel, this idea of increasing in knowledge and increasing in strength. That's considered to be a wise man. And we've learned that this is more precious than jewels and stuff like that when we meet up with this wisdom. And so we see that wisdom is too high for the fool, because he opened up his mouth not at the gate. That means that nobody goes through the processes. Nobody is in an understanding of the word in order to even be able to do that. So it says, he that deviseth to do divisive to do evil shall be called a mischievous person. The thought of foolishness, sin, and the scorner is an abomination to man. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. If thou forbear to deliver them that are drawn unto death, and those that are ready to be slain, if thou sayest, behold, we know it not, does not he that pondereth the heart consider it? And he that reapeth thy soul, does it not know it? And shall not he render to every man according to his works? This is on number 12. This is all yes, 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 yes. My son, eat thy honey because it is good, and thy honeycomb, which is sweet to thy taste. So shall thy knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul, and thou shalt find it. And there shall be reward, and by expectation shall not be cut off. Again, this is going to be number 14, represents 5, talking about the body. He's not going to be cut off. He's showed them this place where, where you can go to get really good food. This honeycomb we're talking about. This is the food that she gives us, and then the milk, and well, we get all kinds of wonderful things. Lay not wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Spoil not his resting place. This is where I would say, heaven is at hand. Stop farting around. Just come on, wake up. For the just man falleth 7th time and rises up again. The wicked shall fall into mischief. Rejoice not when thine enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbles. Lest the Lord see it and displease him, and turn away his wrath from him. Fret not thyself because of evil men, neither be thou envious of the wicked. Well, they've repeated themselves. For there shall be no reward to the evil man. The candle of the wicked shall be put out. All right, so this is on the opposite side. Remember, all these stories, they start off really hot, and then they come into this lower side. So this is interesting because we start getting it back into some symbolism, that the candle for the wicked shall be put out. See, that means it's dark. That means that there's no light in them. There's no God in them. So this is about darkness. Death. Number 21 represents a 3. My son, fear thou the Lord and the King, and meddle not with them that are given to change. For their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both? That's a question mark. These things also belong to the wise. It is not good to have respect of persons in judgment. Have respect of persons in judgment. He that saith unto the wicked, thou art righteous, him shall the people curse. Nation shall abhor him. But to him that rebuke him shall be a delight, and a good blessing shall come upon them. Every man shall kiss his lips that giveth a right answer. Prepare thy work without, and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterwards build thine house. So here's number 27. This is a 9, and it says, prepare thy work without. This is the end of the story. This is the end of this particular part of the story. And so here is your help. Your God is telling you, prepare thy work without. This is what you're going to be doing without him. Prepare for those times that you're going to be without him. You have to go through this and make it fit for thyself in the field. So you're going to be on the outside for a little while. And then afterwards, build thine house. Do you understand? This is, you've got to do the works first. You got to make a place for you out in the field, out in the lower mind, out in the, learn things. Go out there and learn how to do it. Then afterwards build thine house. Be not a witness against thy neighbor without cause, and deceive not with thy lips. Say not, I will do so to him, and he hath done to me. I will render to the man according to his works. I went by the field of a slothful, and by the vineyard of a man void of understanding. All right, so here's a quick little parable. Somebody is going through these places, and he's going to someone that doesn't have any understanding. If you understood, if you understood that when you come to a vineyard is representing this tree of life, that representing, you know, the way. And so here he comes to a vineyard of a man void of understanding, and this place is just all messed up with thorns and nettles. They covered the face thereof. And then also the stone and the wall thereof was broken down. And I saw, and I considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction. Yet a little sleep, yet a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man. All right, that was it. I wanted you. Those that was beautiful. This last one, I went by this field, and I saw where nobody had been tending to it. It had thorns and this and that. This is representing the third kingdom in the stories when you're sowing your seeds. That this, you just can't help. You can't do it when you got all that stuff going on. It's just not working. So he's been told to go out into the field, and he says, I want you to make yourself a place out there first, and then build your house. That's so pretty. Where are we at? That was so cool. All right. So again, we only have like 2 more of those. We got 30 and 31. There's only 2. Those stories left in Proverbs, and I think I want to do those on the board because it might be fun to do it. But you know, I just can see another way of teaching it. All right. But what you would do is you could come through all of these things and just remember it's 4. Every 4 is going to be another world. All right. And it's only really talking about the good guy and the bad guy. You know, if you're slothful, if you're this, you know, you will learn a lot of what it means to be on the wicked side of things. But at the same time, you know, we're not supposed to really knock those guys because they're doing their job. They're supposed to be doing it, you know. But I'll say I think there is another. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, there is more. There's a story in between these stories that's going to. Let me see how it works. Did I do it? Did I do it backwards? Maybe so. Here's in Proverbs, from Proverbs 25. Yes, it's a whole different place, you guys. Let me see. I've done myself some wrong here. But anyways, I'm going to read that anyways. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Okay, now this is about someone that doesn't control their own lives. It's like, so anyone can come in and invade this. Everyone can trespass. Everyone can do all this crap over this. And this is, you know, no longer, it's, you know, but this is the idea that it's broken down and it's without walls. Now, we know that when we go into meditation or at this particular time in our lives, if there's nothing, if our spirit can get walked on and robbed, you know, and that's the symbolism behind that. We also know that the kingdom of God is walled off. It is walled, and there is no way out. You know, there are no way in. That is. So, but whenever we finally make it through these places, everything is made even. There is no more lower mind and higher mind. And so that gets rid of the chains and that bind you once you make it into this other side. But there are from Proverbs chapter 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. There's 5. So that's going to be talking about our bodies. Is that the way it is? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 chapters in the next grouping. And this is the ones that I did a little bit of fun to. This is the ones that I picked out, the 2s, a bunch of 2s. It was just such a fun read, But I think that when it comes down to it, I'm just going to do the same with it. We're going to read just the beginning, and then we're going to go to the end to get its final say. But so far, what we're getting is that you have to still do the works first, and then do you get brought into the light? All right. So, anyways, I hope you guys understood that. Best to you. I'll chat with you soon.